Everybody dies. It's an unfortunate fact of life, and sometimes when people die, they're in the middle of filming a hit TV series. When that happens, some shows just send their characters on vacation, while others give the late actors a TV death as well. Tony Soprano's mother, Livia, was a force to be reckoned with. For 2 seasons, she spat pure vitriol at her son, and she did it so effectively that she was rated the 3rd greatest TV villain of all time by Rolling Stone. A big Season 3 story arc involving Livia turning state's evidence was planned for her before tragic circumstances got in the way. The actress who played Livia, Nancy Marchand, passed away in 2000 from a combination of emphysema and lung cancer. Livia was then killed off in The Sopranos, but not before the show tried to bring her back for one last scene. The producers used recent footage of Marchand to digitally superimpose her face onto another actress's body for the next season's premiere, giving Livia and Tony a final chance to interact. It was a gutsy move with sweet intentions, but it was also done with dated technology. Viewer reactions were decidedly mixed. A recent staple of popular culture is bringing beloved shows back for a victory lap, catching their fans up on the lives of their favorite characters after a long hiatus. But time keeps moving forward, and inevitably it catches up to all of us. For 7 years and more than 150 episodes, Edward Herrmann played Gilmore family patriarch Richard Gilmore on Gilmore Girls. Beloved by fans and co-workers alike, his absence was felt on and off screen when shooting commenced on the follow-up series Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life, which premiered on Netflix in 2016. In 2014, Herrmann had passed away at the age of 71 from brain cancer. The makers of the 2016 revival wrote Richard out of the series with a fatal off-screen heart attack, referencing earlier cardiac problems from the original series, and his passing served as a major plot point.
Intended for Dad's eyebrow and my forearm to be exactly the same length?
Yes.
It's 18 feet tall.
It's not 18 feet tall.
It looks 18 feet tall.
Should I get a tape measure?
No.
Phil Leeds was a fascinating man. A native New Yorker and an ex-peanut vendor at Yankee Stadium, he turned to stand-up comedy and later to character acting, despite having no professional theatrical training. He was blacklisted during the era of McCarthyism for pleading the Fifth Amendment and refusing to rat on his friends in the business. But he managed to bounce back later in his career, landing parts in films like Ghost and History of the World Part 1. When he died in 1998 at the age of 82, he was playing a recurring character Judge Boyle on the hit legal series Ally McBeal. In response, the show's production team utilized some clever editing techniques to put together what they described as a patchwork scene, with unused footage of Judge Boyle falling asleep in court. Of course, in the final product, instead of sleeping, Judge Boyle has died. As death sequences go, it was pretty funny and a cool form of tribute to an old Catskills comedian. The CW's Riverdale wasn't exactly designed to be a show that could readily deal with the untimely loss of an actor with dignity and grace. After all, it's a sensationalized and gritty reboot of a comic book aimed at children. So it was genuinely heartwarming when the 4th season premiere, In Memoriam, took the emotional bull by the horns and addressed the passing of actor Luke Perry with plenty of sensitivity. Perry first rose to fame in the 90s as Dylan McKay on Beverly Hills 90210. Then he returned to teen drama as a regular on Riverdale, playing Fred Andrews, beloved father of Archie. But sadly, on February 27, 2019, he suffered a massive stroke, passing away 5 days later at the age of 52. The show was forced to write Fred out of the remaining episodes of the 3rd season, which was still in production at the time, explaining his absence by saying that he was on a business trip. When the show returned from summer break, the entire premiere episode dealt with the fallout of Fred's death in a car accident.
Like, Luke is the kind of person who did everything he can to make whoever you are, no matter how big or small you are, feel comfortable and feel welcome.
Lee Thompson Young did a lot with the short amount of time that he had on Earth. Children of the 90s know him as the famous Jet Jackson on the Disney Channel, and Smallville fans remember him as the first live-action version of Justice League mainstay Cyborg. On the big screen, he had meaty roles in films like Akeelah and the Bee and Friday Night Lights. Off-screen, however, Young's life was a difficult one. He suffered from depression and bipolar disorder, and in 2013, after he failed to show up on set, police were sent for a wellness check. They found that he had taken his own life. He was only 29. At the time of his death, he had been playing Barry Frost on TNT's Rizzoli and Isles for 4 seasons. The show was put on hiatus following the shocking loss and returned the next season with a story about Barry's death in a car accident.
Death may have taken Barry, but it can't take our memories of him.
If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, 8255.